Hi, my name is Scott Tomlinson with Clinical Trials Ontario. In this video tutorial, we'll take a look at drafting and sending an REB letter. Specifically, I will cover how to create a draft of an REB letter, as well as some tips for working with the letter templates in the system. We'll also compare how to complete a draft versus how to save a copy of a draft of a letter that you can resume working on later. Then we'll look at how to collate the reviewer's comments into an REB letter. And finally, we'll look at sending the letter to the study team. Once the submission completes the archive documents step of the workflow, the draft letter button becomes visible under the action menu while you're on the submission timeline page. This occurs after the set expiry date step when you're reviewing a provincial initial application or a provincial continuing review. The name of the button will appear slightly different depending on the REB's decision and the type of application that's being processed. In this example, I'll show how to draft and send a review letter for the provincial continuing review submission. An important thing to note is that drafting a letter is optional, and some REBs may choose to skip this step and go directly to the send letter step of the REB workflow. A reason why drafting a letter is useful is that the REB chair or other REB member may review the drafted letter and suggest any changes that are required before it is sent to the study team. You should always make sure to follow your REB's SOPs when determining if drafting a letter is required. When you press the draft letter button, the template letter appears inside of a text editor within a pop-up window. Some of the information is automatically populated at the top of the letter, such as the meeting date and the approval expiry date. This information should not be changed manually when you're editing the letter. If you notice any incorrect information appearing in the letter template that you're working on, please contact CTO support via the online help desk at support.ctontario.ca. One thing you should always make sure to change is the review type, because it will always show full board/delegated, regardless of the type of review that the application underwent. You should also remove any field that appears blank, because that information was not completed on the application, as it was not mandatory. You may also notice that some tables that contain documents are blank, and those tables can be completely removed. You may wish to remove the timestamp that appears next to the date on some of the automatically populated dates in the letter. All of the changes to the letter template can be typed directly into the text editor. If you're copying and pasting any information from an external source into the letter, such as from Microsoft Word, when you paste the text, you should always make sure to right-click and use the Paste as Plain Text option to strip the formatting, and then you can reformat the text once it's been pasted by using the toolbar at the top of the text editor. If you are copying and pasting a bulleted list into the letter, the list will get cut off after the first bullet when you're pasting as plain text. To avoid this, you should always remove the bullets before you copy the text and then paste it into the letter. And then you can re-add the bullets using the toolbar in the text editor. Once you've finished making all of your changes to the letter, click the green draft letter button at the bottom of the pop-up window and then confirm you wish to complete the action by clicking yes. The draft letter has now been completed, and the draft will be visible to everyone from the REB that has access to the submission. The application also advances to the next step of the REB workflow. To save a copy of the draft that you're working on so that you can finish it later, you could press the Save button at the top right-hand corner of the toolbar inside of the text editor. You'll need to give the draft a name, and then you can click the Save button. The saved draft is only visible to the user who saved it. Saving a draft this way does not advance the application to the next step of the workflow. The draft can then be loaded at any time by the user by pressing the My Drafts button at the bottom left-hand corner of the pop-up window, once you've used the draft letter action. Then you can select the saved draft and overwrite the template with your saved draft. The collate comments action appears under the action menu after the application form has been submitted and collates all of the comments made by the REB chair, REB members, and any other reviewer into a single PDF document. The collated comments document will automatically appear inside of the pop-up window, and you can copy and paste any of the text from here directly into the letter. You could also download this document to its PDF format, and that will go directly to your downloads folder or wherever you have your browser saving downloads. And from there you could copy and paste the text into the letter, but stripping the formatting using the paste as plain text option. The collate comments action is also recorded in the submission timeline, along with the other actions that were performed on the submission. Any of the reviewers with access to this submission can download the collated comments document by clicking the paperclip icon that's in the same row as that action. Once the letter for the submission has been drafted, it can be sent to the chair or any other REB member by using the Letter Review Required button and then assigning the appropriate individual. The assigned person must then indicate if the letter needs to be changed or not by selecting the corresponding action. Whether the letter review step is required or not depends on the SOPs of your REB. Some REBs have the chair review REB letters outside of CTO Stream, either by email or paper, and do not use the letter review process in the system. If this is the case for you, then you can press the No Letter Review Required button. Then you'll need to confirm that action. Once you've done this, the Send Letter button will appear into the action menu for the application. Then you'll need to click the existing button on the bottom left to pull up the draft of the letter, and then select the draft and overwrite the current template with the drafted letter. From there, you can make sure that everything looks correct. Again, making sure to remove any blank fields. And once finished, you can send the letter by using the green button at the bottom right of the pop-up window. The letter has now been sent, and you can verify that by looking in the list of actions on the submission timeline page, where you can see that the send letter action was completed. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions about CTO Stream or are having any technical issues, visit support.ctontario.ca to submit a help desk ticket. You can visit ctontario.ca for more video tutorials, user guides, quick guides, and tip sheets.